from Edge Institute of Engineering and Technology from the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. Today I am going to explain you about the topic DFT from the unit Discrete Fourier Transform and Fast Fourier Transform from the subject of Digital Signal Processing. First of all, what is DFT? DFT means Discrete Fourier Transform. What is the basic requirement of this Discrete Fourier Transform? Suppose if we want to convert any discrete time signal from time domain to frequency domain, then we will use the discrete time Fourier transform, right? So it will consider as DTFT. It will be for the full range, but suppose if you want to do the Fourier transform for particular range, then for it we will use this discrete Fourier transform. So suppose if I want to find the Fourier transform up to the n number of samples, so we will taking the range from 0 to n minus 1. So this way it will gives you the Fourier transform in the particular range. So if I am defining this discrete Fourier transform, then it will be defined as it is a finite duration discrete frequency sequence which is obtained by sampling one period of Fourier transform. So if we are taking this one period of Fourier transform, then the equation will be x of k equals to summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi kn by capital N. In this we had taken the n number of samples, so the range will be starting from 0 to n minus 1. And as the equation will be in the form of k, so the output will be in the form of x of k. So x is a function of k instead of x is a function of omega, where the value of k will be ranges from 0, 1 to up to n minus 1. Now if we are taking the inverse DFT, then the equation of inverse DFT is from the value of x of k, we will deriving the equation of x of n, right? So what will be the equation of the inverse DFT? Its value equals to x of n is equals to 1 upon n summation k equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of k into e raised to j 2 pi kn upon capital N. Now you can see that in the equation of Fourier transform we have taken the value as e raised to minus term. So in the equation of inverse DFT we have to take it as plus form. So e raised to this term will be in the form of positive. Now the next topic is the relationship between DTFT and DFT. As I told you that DTFT and DFT both will be used to convert any signal from time domain to frequency domain. But the basic difference between these two is if we are taking discrete time Fourier transform, then we will taking the entire range. And if we are taking the DFT, then for n number of particular samples we will finding the Fourier transform. So if we are deriving the relationship between this DTFT and DFT, then starting with the equation of DTFT as, what is the equation of DTFT? Equation of DTFT is x of omega equals to summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite x of n into e raised to minus j omega n, right? Now if we are taking the equation of DFT, then endpoint DFT will be representing as x of k equals to summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of n e raised to minus j 2 pi kn by capital N. Now in this equation you can see that over here the term x of n is the same, e raised to minus j n will be same. Now where is the difference? Over here the term is omega, and instead of this omega here the value is 2 pi k by capital N, right? So when I am equating these two equations, then we can say that these two equations are same when we will taking the value of omega equals to 2 pi k by capital N. If we are taking this infinite range into the finite range, then this DTFT will convert into DFT. So by comparing these two equations, we can say that x of k equals to x of omega when we are taking omega equals to 2 pi k by capital N. So this one is the basic relationship between this DTFT and DFT. Now the next topic is relationship between DFT and Z transform. As you know that DFT means discrete Fourier transform. So basically it will be used to convert the signal from time domain to frequency domain. but it is used for discrete time signal, right? Similarly, if we are finding the Z transform is also used for discrete time sequence. So, if you want to convert any signal from time domain to Z domain, so we are using this Z transform. So, we have to derive the relationship between these two. So, if we are deriving the relationship, then endpoint DFT is representing as x of k equals to summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j2 by kn by capital N, right? Same way we will writing the equation of Z transform. So what is the equation of Z transform? Z transform is x of Z equals to summation n equals to minus infinite to infinite x of n z raised to minus n. Now you can see that here the term x of n is same with x of n. Where is the difference? This minus n is also same. So the difference is over here the term is z. So instead of this, here the term is e raised to j 2 pi k by capital N. Right. So when we are taking z equals to e raised to j 2 pi k by capital N, then at that time the DFT will seem as Z transform. So by comparing these two equations, we can say that x of k equals to x of z when we are taking z equals to e raised to j 2 pi kn by capital N, right? And in this also, instead of this infinite range, we are taking this finite range. Then we can convert the z transform to the discrete Fourier transform is DFT. Now the next point is the cyclic property of a Tweedle factor. Now first of all, we are defining the Tweedle factor. What is Tweedle factor? Suppose if I am writing the equation of DFT, what is the equation of DFT? As you know that, and if I am writing the endpoint DFT, then what is the equation? Endpoint DFT is representing as x of k equals to summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi kn by capital N, right? Now in this, the value of k will be ranges from 0, 1 to up to n minus 1. Same way, the value of n will be ranges from 0 to n minus 1. So we can say that the value of k and the value of n will be changed. But if we are saying that if you want to find out 4-point DFT, 8-point DFT, then the value of capital N will remain constant, right? So the term e raised to minus j 2 pi by capital N will remain constant because the value of n is fixed. So for each and every term, if we are using this e raised to factor, then the computational complexity will be increases. So to reduce the complexity, we are taking this factor as Tweedle factor. So this factor will be defined as Tweedle factor. Now if we want to derive the cyclic property of this Tweedle factor, then what is the meaning of this cyclic property? Cyclic property means, suppose if I am representing it in the form of cycle, then after some number of points it will be in the repeating form. Suppose if I am starting with 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, 5, 6, it means it will be repeating form. 4 will be same as 0, right? So we can say that after 4 terms it will be in the repeating form. So how will deriving this repeating form or cyclic property of this Tweedle factor? So starting with this Tweedle factor, it will be defining as Wn. So starting with this term Wn, it's equals to e raised to minus j 2 pi by capital N. So I am writing this term here as Wn equals to e raised to minus j 2 pi by n, right? Now in this I am taking the value of n equals to 4. Suppose if I am taking, let we are taking n equals to 4. So if I am saying 4, then number of samples equals to 4. So starting with 0, so number of samples will be 4. So 0 to 3, right? So it will be starting from 0 to up to n minus 1. So if I am taking n equals to 4, then that should be cyclic property that after 4 sample it should be in the repeating form. So if we want to prove this term, then we will starting from Wn equation. Over here I am taking as we have taken n equals to 4, so I am writing W4 equals to e raised to minus j 2 pi by 4, right? Now in this you can see that in the equation of DFT we had taken e raised to minus j 2 pi kn by capital N, right? In this we have taken e raised to minus j 2 pi kn 2 pi by capital N equals to Tweedle factor, right? So this equation will be representing in the form of Tweedle factor as summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1. This one is x of n into this term will be representing in the form of Wn raised to this Kn, right? So the term will be like this, Wn raised to Kn. Now what is the range of k and n? The range of k and n will be 0 to n minus 1. So we are using this particular term Wn raised to Kn to prove this cyclic property. So this one is Wn, right? Now we have to derive Wn raised to Kn. Now if I am taking the value of k equals to 0, 1, 2, 3 and the value of n equals to 0, 1, 2 and 3, then what will be the value? If I am taking k equals to 0, n equals to 0. So 0 into 0 means W4 raised to 0, right? So I am taking W4 raised to 0 means Wn raised to k. So if I am writing Wn raised to 0 means this term raised to 0. So I am writing e raised to minus j 2 pi by 4 raised to 0. Now as you know that any term raised to 0 means its value equals to 1. So this value equals to 1. Same way if I am finding W4 raised to 1, we will taking 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 likewise, right? So if I am taking W4 raised to 1, then what will be the value? E raised to minus j 2 pi by 4 raised to 1. So value of it equals to e raised to minus j 2 pi by 4 into 1 means e raised to minus j 2 pi by 4. 2 will be cancelled out. So this term will representing e raised to minus j pi by 2. So if I am simplifying this, then you know that e raised to minus j theta equals to cos theta minus j sin theta. So if I am applying this rule, then cos pi by 2 minus j sin pi by 2. As you know that the value of cos pi by 2 equals to 0 and the value of sin pi by 2 equals to 1. So 0 minus j into 1, its value equals to minus j. So the value of W4 raised to 1 equals to minus j. Same way, if I am finding the value of W4 raised to 2, then what will be the value? E raised to minus j 2 pi by 4 raised to 2. So the value equals to e raised to 2 into 2 means 4 divided by 4 means e raised to minus j pi. So if I am finding e raised to minus j pi, it will representing as cos pi minus j sin pi, right? Now what is the value of cos pi? Cos pi equals to minus 1 and sin pi equals to 0. So the overall value equals to minus 1. Similarly, if I am finding the value of W4 raised to 3, then what is the value of it? E raised to minus j 2 pi by 4 raised to 3. So what will be the value? 2 will be cancelled out. So over here the term will be e raised to minus j 3 pi by 2. Now if I am finding the value of it, then cos 3 pi by 2 minus j sin 3 pi by 2. Right. So what is the value of cos 3 pi by 2? Cos 3 pi by 2 means 0 and the value of sin 3 pi by 2 equals to minus 1. So you can find out the value of this equals to minus plus j, right? Now same way, if I am finding W4 raised to 4, then what will be the value? E raised to minus j 2 pi by 4 raised to 4. 4 will be cancelled out, so the term will be e raised to minus j 2 pi. Now if I am simplifying this term, then the value equals to cos 2 pi minus j sin 2 pi. And as you know that the value of cos 2 pi equals to 1 and sin 2 pi equals to 0. So overall answer equals to 1. Now you can see that the value of W4 raised to 4 equals to 1 and the value of W4 raised to 0 is also 1. Same way, if I am finding the value of W4 raised to 5, then its value will be minus j. W4 raised to 6, its value equals to minus 1. Likewise, it will be in the cyclic form. So this way it will consider as cyclic property of this Tweedle factor. So we will use this cyclic property in the calculation of examples of DFT. Now if we will solving some example based on DFT, then what is first example is Calculate the DFT of a sequence x of n equals to 1, 1, 0, 0 and check the validity of your answer by calculating IDFT. So if you want to solve this example, then starting with the equation of DFT. What is the equation of DFT? Equation of DFT is, if I am writing for n point DFT, then the equation will be x of k equals to summation n equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of n into wn raised to kn, right? So if I am representing this in the form of matrix, then you can say that matrix xk equals to, this matrix will be representing as xn and this will be representing as matrix of Twiddle factor wn, right? So after matrix multiplication, we can find the value of xk. So if I am representing this matrix of wn, you can see that the value of kn equals to 0, 1, 2, 3 likewise, right? So if I am finding the value of capital N, what is the value of capital N? How many number of samples in this term? There are 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 samples are there, right? So value of n equals to 4. So if I am finding for W4 raised to 0, 1, 2, 3, then the matrix of it will be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And if you want to find out the value of xk, means output, which is DFT of this example, then it will be representing as matrix multiplication of this 2. So the value of x of n is representing as in the column form, so it will be representing as 1, 1, 0, 0. Now if I am writing the matrix of the Twiddle factor, then the matrix will be 1 minus j minus 1 j. Then the next one is 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1. Over here the term will be j minus 1 and minus j. So if we will multiplying this two term, it will be representing as 1 into 1, 1 plus 1 into 1, 1 plus 0 into anything means 0. First matrix will be multiplied with second matrix with row into column, right? So 1 into 1, 1, 1 into 1, 1, 1 into 0, 0 and 1 into 0, 0. Same way we will representing for the second row. So 1 into 1 means 1, 1 into minus j means minus j and all the other two terms will be 0. Same way 1 into 1, 1, 1 into minus 1 plus 0 plus 0. And the last term is 1 plus j plus 0 plus 0. Now if you solve this term, then the answer will be 2, 1 plus 1 means 2, 1 minus j, 0 and 1 plus j. So this is your final answer, and if you want to represent it in form of x of k, then the term will be 2, 1 minus j, 0 and 1 plus j. Now we have to validate that this answer is correct or not by using the IDFT. Now how will validating this? If I am taking the DFT of this, suppose if I am taking DFT of x of n, then it will give us x of k, right? So if I am taking IDFT of this, then it will give you the x of n. So starting with x of k, we will taking its inverse DFT, then the answer should be x of n. And the answer will be this one 1 1 0 0, then the answer, this answer will be correct, right? So this way we can validate our answer. So if you want to validate our answer by using this IDFT, then what will be the equation? X of k is given to you and you have to find out the value of x of n. And the value of x of n should be 1 1 0 0, right? Now from this x of k, we will deriving the value of x of n by using IDFT. So what will be the equation? 1 by n summation k equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of k into e raised to j 2 pi kn by capital N, right? So if I am representing this in the form of Twiddle factor, then what will be the equation? 1 upon n summation k equals to 0 to n minus 1 x of k. This one is wn raised to minus k. Because for minus term we had taken plus, so for this plus term we have to take minus, right? Now if I am representing this in the form of matrix, then this will be representing as This one is conjugate term of wn raised to kn, right? So I am writing like this, wn conjugate term, its matrix. It will be multiplied with matrix of xk, so it will give you the matrix of xn. Clear? So the value of x of n should be equals to 1 1 0 0. So using this equation, I am finding the value of x of n. So what will be the value? 1 by n. Now you can see that here the value of capital N equals to 4 because 4 points are given to you. So I am writing over here as 1 by 4. Now we have to represent the conjugate term of Twiddle factor matrix. What is the conjugate term? First of all, I am writing the matrix of Twiddle factor. Its value is 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Then next I am writing 1 minus j minus 1 j. Same way 1 minus 1 1 minus 1. And the last term is this, right? This one is the matrix of Twiddle factor. Now we have to represent this in the conjugate term of this Twiddle factor matrix. So instead of minus j we will write in plus, instead of plus j we will write in minus. So instead of this j only we will changing its sign and all the real part will remain as it is. Now here we will writing the values of xk. What is the value of xk? Its value is 2, 1 minus j, 0 and 1 plus j, right? As we had derived in the last part. Now if I am multiplying these two terms, then what will be the value? 1 into 2, 2 plus 1 into 1 minus j means 1 minus j, 1 into 0 means 0 and 1 into 1 plus j means 1 plus j. Right, so this one is first term. Same way, for next term 2 into 1 means 2. Then the next term is j into plus 1 means j. J into minus j means minus j square. Minus 1 into 0 means 0. And the last term is minus j into 1 means minus j square. For the third term, 1 into 2 means 2, minus 1 into 1 means minus 1, minus minus plus j, next term is 0, minus 1 into this means minus 1, minus j, and the last term is 2, minus j, minus minus plus j square, plus 0, and the last term is 1. So minus j plus j will be cancelled out, this one is cancelled out, j square plus j square means 2j square and the value of j square equals to minus 1. So minus 2. 2 minus 2 equals to 0. So the last term is 0. Now if I am cancelling 4, 4 then the term will be 1, 1, 0, 0. So this is your final answer. So I am writing final answer over here, x of n equals to 1, 1, 0, 0. This will be representing in this form. So you can see that this one is the original input signal. So this way we can validate this one is our correct